Cool, welcome everybody. Thank you for being here for the Gadsden Green Community Summit. We're going to kick it off, and my friend Roland and I are going to give a greeting. We have a video recording going right now, and we also have folks out and about in the Gadsden Green community bringing in more attendees, but to stay on schedule, we're going to kick it off. So thanks for being here. And yeah, I hear you. My name is Seb Chad. They, them pronouns. Been organizing with Friends of Gadsden Creek for almost 5 years. I'll be emceeing today's event, and I want to introduce my friend Roland to share a bit about us and what we do and kind of mission of our organization.
Good morning. My name is Good morning. My name is Roland. I'm a resident of Gadsden Green, back to Green as everyone knows it is, and also a member of Friends of Gadsden Creek. And we are here, first of all, thank you for coming out. Good to have you here. And we're here to discuss our effort to keep a creek open that's valuable to our community. It's been covered up for the last 100 years, and each time they cover up some of it, our community suffers a bit more. And now we're down to the last 4 acres. You know, if you got 96 acres, you think you'd be satisfied and let the forests remain there for the community to enjoy and plan for. It's a part of our community. It's a part of the old Gadsden Creek community, the one that they did away with because of tornadoes. The community begged for their homes to be repaired, give them opportunity to repair their homes and men to live there, but they condemned the whole community and basically shoved the people's home to the creek and made it valuable real estate for business developers. And we don't want that to happen this time. You know, I'm not scared because I'm faithful that we're going to keep that last 4 acres. But it's going to take all of us and more of the community coming out to these events because they're the voice that need to be heard. And they're concerned, just as concerned as I am. But most of them are low-income people. They work hard. They get home in the afternoon. They want to lay back and watch television and drink a beer or something. And they don't realize how important it is for us to keep this creek alive. And it'll also benefit our community economically and in other ways. So just the comfort of being there and knowing that we got friends like all the friends from Gadsden Creek, occasion of a few other organizations that has really been supporting us and working and trying to help us remain. We are a valuable community. We are just as valuable as any other community in Charleston. And we want to see more services there. We want to see more consideration of us and treat us like we're the citizens that we are. We all are good citizens. We do the same thing that everyone else do here. We get up, we go to work, we send our kids to school, and we do the best we can with what economics we have. Thanks for coming out, and please continue to support us. Thank you.
Awesome. Thanks so much, Roland. So I'm going to kick it off with some opening remarks and just the schedule for today. I think it would be great if we could also live stream on the Friends of Gadsden Creek Instagram if anyone's logged in and could reach our digital audiences that way. So a little bit about how I got involved. When I moved to downtown Charleston in 2019, I learned about the threats posed by the West Edge development, and in the first month of living here, I showed up to this very auditorium and spoke up alongside organizers like Ms. Barbara Gathers, who's here today, and Mika Gadsden, who's here today. So honored to be here 5 years later, continuing this resistance and solidarity with everyone. Some community agreements for today's event are up on screen. We hope that people can exercise consideration and respect in our actions and speech for each other today. And we'll also be documenting today's event, as we mentioned, with photo and video. However, we won't be sharing anyone's names outside of our organization or to the public, so in order to preserve anonymity. In our facility today, we have water outside. If you go straight out the doors of the auditorium to the right, you can find the restrooms. We also have snacks on the welcome table outside. For accessibility, please let us know if volume is an issue and it's difficult to hear. We have masks available, which are encouraged to wear if you would like that. That's at the welcome table. And we'll also be served lunch by Hannibal's Kitchen at 1 p.m. And the folks serving lunch can help any folks with food allergies or dietary restrictions. So we know that there is a time and place for special language that allows us to communicate faster if we're talking about housing law or environmental engineering, for example. But today, for all of our presenters and participants today, we'd like to share that this event is meant to use plain language, so speaking in a way to be understood by as many people as possible. So we asked all presenters, if you're using special terms in your presentation, to please define them first. Some that might be used by our organization include environmental justice, a popular movement to, when we're thinking about our natural environment, to also account for the social element and consider how historically our treatment in the environment has negatively impacted working class racial minorities. You'll hear people use FOGC, that's an acronym for Friends of Gadsden Creek, our host organization for today. Gadsden Green, or the West Side, or Back to Green, as Roland said. Different people use different names to refer to this neighborhood, but when we use these terms, we'll refer to the predominantly Black community that's resided in this area for generations, and today mostly lives in the public housing complex operated by the Charleston Housing Authority, known as Gadsden Green. Gentrification refers to patterns of new real estate development created for oftentimes wealthier, oftentimes white populations, which can lead to the displacement of the existing population, which is oftentimes working class and racial minorities. Housing justice we'll have a panel dedicated to today, a movement that fights for dignified, affordable housing for everybody, but especially for working class tenants, or people who rent property instead of owning it. We'll use the term reparations, which comes from the word repair. The concept that harm done to people should be repaired literally. So in the case of Black Americans, this might mean measuring the private property or generational wealth that was stolen due to racial discrimination and returning it. And also the term West Edge is the organization that was created with the sole purpose of developing the area next to Gadsden Green, where the Publix, the condos, and the restaurants are located across Haggett Avenue. West Edge began in 2012 under Mayor Joe Riley, formerly called the Horizon Foundation, and it's made up of MUSC Foundation, City of Charleston, and Gateway, a real estate developer from Atlanta. Anything that folks would like to add or comment in relation to the community agreements for today, or any terms that we think should be defined? Okay, I think we have mics up here, and we'll have volunteer runners. So if anyone has anything to contribute at any time, just raise your hand and we'll get a microphone over to you. The agenda for today is up on screen now. We're going to move through a handful of different activities, each lasting about 1 hour, and we'll also be moving some locations. The events here posted that are the community demands activity and the visioning activity will be more interactive and invite participation from all of the attendees today. And each panel presentation will also have time for Q&A for questions and comments from the audience at the end. We'll also be hosting day 2 of our summit tomorrow in Gadsden Green on Line Street, and I invite you to join us then. It'll be less formal and there'll be more time for discussion. Lunch will also be served, and there will also be a youth arts activity. Today, if any young folks are with us, or you see any children that don't want to be sitting here for a long time, please direct them out to the foyer area where we have an arts activity run by Redux Art Center. So the format of today will be kicking it off with a presentation from Joshua Robinson. We'll then move to a panel of Friends of Gadsden Creek organizers, then a panel of Gadsden Green residents. We'll break for lunch and work on a community demands activity in the cafeteria, which is just down this way. We'll then have a panel on housing justice and tenants' rights, and end with a panel on Black activism and alternative futures. We'll then have closing remarks and an activity out in the foyer that we'll work on together. So before talking about today's specific event goals, first a bit about us, Friends of Gadsden Creek. We're a grassroots environmental justice campaign that since 2018 has opposed the destruction of Gadsden Creek and the continued patterns of injustice inflicted upon the Gadsden Green community. Our over 900 members include housing justice activists, scientists, architects, designers, engineers, and citizen advocates. We demand the restoration and revitalization of Gadsden Creek and reparations for Gadsden Green. In 2021, we worked with the South Carolina Environmental Law Project, who's here today, to file a lawsuit against SCD Hecht Permit, which approved the West Edge development to destroy the creek, and this lawsuit is ongoing today. When we first began this work in 2019, most people we spoke to had never heard of Gadsden Creek, which is the last remaining tidal creek on the peninsula and is located directly across from Gadsden Green, across Haygood Avenue, which you can see here up on screen in color. The creek feeds into the Ashley River and is a natural wetland ecosystem with plants, birds, crabs, raccoons, and sometimes even dolphins that you'll see more in Joshua's presentation, which is to follow. The creek has a long-standing connection to the Gadsden Green community, dating as far back as this postcard from 1867, which shows residents conducting baptisms in the creek's waters, as well as fishing, crabbing, swimming, and hosting businesses alongside its shores.
Wow.
The neighborhood was also the largest area of Black homeowners in the city. However, after a tornado that Roland mentioned resulted in damage to the area, the city of Charleston decided to seize this property from the residents to create racially segregated public housing. Gadsden Green residents opposed this at the time, and a group led by the individual John Harris wrote a letter to the city saying, "We, the undersigned citizens and freeholders of the area affected by the proposed low-rent cost housing project in the section of Charleston known as Gadsden Green, do most earnestly and honestly protest against this area being used as a slum clearance project." This was in March 1940, so over 85 years ago. And we see ourselves, am I doing that math right? 60, 24, yeah, about 85 years ago. And we see ourselves being part of this legacy of resistance in Gadsden Green. The city didn't stop at turning the private homes into racially segregated public housing. They then turned their attention to filling in the creek and its wetlands with municipal waste to create more land for profit. At the time, Mayor Morrison referred to this new land as, quote, "good as gold, just like money in the bank," end quote, very transparently reflecting their intentions for this area. Continuing this legacy of resistance, Gadsden Green resident Shirley Chavez in 1970 filed a lawsuit against the city, citing horrible conditions like rodents and stench, continuing this legacy of resistance led by Gadsden Green residents. As most of you know, covering up over 96 acres of wetlands with landfill, concrete, and underground pipes does not make the water disappear. Flooding is just one of multiple issues that Gadsden Green residents face today, in addition to extreme heat, as well as poor maintenance, including pests, mold, and structural issues. West Edge's permit application was approved in 2021 with the solution to fill in the remaining 4 acres of Gadsden Creek with parking lots, hotels, and luxury apartments. Science shows us that filling in the creek will only continue the patterns of flooding in the area. Furthermore, this plan contradicts the City of Charleston's own recommendations, which all state to preserve natural wetlands for drainage, even specifically naming Gadsden Creek at times. This includes the Dutch Dialogues, the city's comprehensive plan, and the stormwater design guidelines. We see the West Edge development as the final nail in the coffin to continue this process of filling land for profit only for a select few. And as Roland pointed out, the 4 acres remaining are what we're fighting for, and that's the remainder of this much larger filled-in area. In response, our campaign has been working on the following initiatives. First, we've been lobbying the city, organizing the public to speak out against West Edge at City Council, signing petitions, and writing letters to state departments. Second, we've been raising awareness, writing articles, giving lectures, working in classrooms from elementary school students to graduate students to tell this story. Third, challenging the permit by filing a lawsuit against this approved permit application. And fourth, we've been building tenant power and also coming up with alternatives to the West Edge plan, and that's really what today's summit is all about. We've been doing this through some of the activities shown here on screen, and that was also cycling through in a presentation before today's event started. This includes mutual aid events, hosting monthly tenant meetings, creek tours, education and coalition building, and events like today's summit. So why are we here today, and what is the intention of today's summit? The question has been, okay, so you don't want the West Edge development, but what do you want as a campaign? Our answer has been, 1, to restore and revitalize Gadsden Creek, and 2, to provide reparations for Gadsden Green. But we've been learning that we need to get more specific. So over the past several years, our team has been working to center Gadsden Green voices in the campaign so that any demands we do make of the city accurately reflect the community's needs. We've created a draft list of demands based on years of organizing, conducting surveys, conversations at our events, monthly tenant meetings, and 1,000 public comments that supporters have submitted to the city. However, we want more input, which is what we've been working on in these monthly tenant meetings and what we'll be doing today during our lunchtime activity, as well as tomorrow, our day 2 in Gadsden Green. The goal is to take these demands for an event that we're hosting in April, working with architects and designers to visualize these ideas and have this be a platform that we fight for. Today's event creates a platform for community leaders on our panels to speak up about important issues and also invite participation from more community members to get involved in shaping these demands and the future of the Gadsden Green community. So before moving on to our first presentation by Joshua, I know that not everyone can stay the entire day, so I'm putting up this slide, how can I get involved, on screen now. One way to get involved is to come to our day 2 event tomorrow and ask about joining our tenant meetings. Our contact information is in the pamphlets that are all available at our welcome table up front. And if you haven't signed into our sign-in sheet, this is also there, and you can do so on the way out if you have not done so already. And I'll put this up again at the end of our first event. So with that, I think we should invite up Mr. Joshua Robinson to give a presentation. Yeah, thanks so much.